Throughout history, we've been fascinated by tales of extraordinary creatures that seem to defy nature itself. These legendary beings, often described with powers beyond imagination, have captivated the human imagination for centuries. But what if these stories aren't just myths? What if some of these creatures were inspired by real beings, misinterpreted or hidden from the world? In this video, we'll delve into 10 of the most incredible creatures in mythology and ask, could any of them still exist today? Let's get started. The first of the 10 most incredible creatures in mythology is the phoenix, a legendary bird known for its cycle of death and renewal. Found in Greek, Egyptian, and various other mythologies, the phoenix is a symbol of immortality and regeneration. According to ancient tales, this magnificent bird would live for hundreds of years before setting itself on fire, only to rise again from its own ashes. The Greeks believed it resided near the sun god's temple, while the Egyptians associated it with the Bennu, a sacred bird linked to creation and the cycle of life. What makes the phoenix fascinating is not just its mythical power but also its symbolic meaning. Many cultures saw it as a representation of resilience, transformation, and the idea that even after destruction, life can begin anew. Could this legend have been inspired by real birds capable of incredible endurance? Or is it purely a metaphor for human perseverance? Either way, the phoenix remains one of mythology's most awe-inspiring creatures. The second creature on our list is one of the most feared in medieval and European mythology. Described as a monstrous serpent or a hybrid between a snake and a rooster, the basilisk was believed to be the king of serpents, capable of killing with a single glance or its deadly breath. Legends say it was born from an egg laid by a rooster and incubated by a toad or a serpent. This unnatural origin only added to its terrifying reputation. Travelers and warriors feared encountering it, as its mere presence could turn the strongest men into stone. Many medieval texts describe different ways to defeat a basilisk, from using a mirror to make it see its own deadly gaze to relying on the natural enemy of serpents, the weasel. Some believed its venom was so powerful that it could even destroy armor. Though the basilisk remains a legend, its myth may have been inspired by real creatures such as cobras or other venomous serpents. Regardless of its origins, it remains one of mythology's most terrifying creatures. The third creature on our list comes from the depths of the Amazon rainforest, a place filled with mysteries and untold legends. The Mapinguari is a terrifying beast described as a massive, shaggy creature with razor-sharp claws and impenetrable skin. Some versions of the myth claim it has a single eye and a gaping mouth in its stomach. Local tribes believe the Mapinguari roams the jungle, emitting a foul stench and unleashing a deafening roar that paralyzes anyone who hears it. Hunters and travelers have shared chilling stories of encountering an enormous, ape-like beast that vanishes without a trace. What makes the legend even more intriguing is the possibility that it could be based on a real animal. Some researchers speculate that the Mapinguari might be a surviving megatherium, an extinct giant ground sloth that once roamed South America. Could this ancient creature still exist, hidden in the dense jungle? Or is it merely a cautionary tale passed down through generations? Either way, the Mapinguari remains one of mythology's most enigmatic beings. The dragon is one of the most legendary creatures in mythology, appearing in countless cultures across the world. In Chinese mythology, dragons are revered as celestial beings, symbols of power, wisdom, and prosperity. Unlike their Western counterparts, Chinese dragons are often depicted as benevolent and closely tied to nature, especially water. They were believed to bring rain, control rivers, and guide emperors with their divine wisdom. In contrast, European dragons are usually portrayed as fearsome beasts, hoarding treasure in dark caves or terrorizing villages. These dragons were often the ultimate challenge for knights and heroes, who had to slay them to prove their strength and courage. Stories like those of St. George and Beowulf reflect this idea, turning dragons into symbols of chaos and destruction. What makes dragons so fascinating is their universal presence in mythology, despite vast geographical distances. Some believe these stories were inspired by dinosaur fossils or encounters with large reptiles. Whether seen as wise protectors or monstrous adversaries, dragons remain some of the most captivating creatures ever imagined. The Yeti, often referred to as the abominable snowman, is one of the most enduring figures in Himalayan mythology. This mysterious creature is described as a large, ape-like being covered in thick fur and said to inhabit the cold, remote peaks of the Himalayas. For centuries, local Sherpa communities have spoken of the Yeti, sometimes seeing it as a guardian spirit of the mountains and at other times as a dangerous, elusive creature. The legend of the Yeti has captured the imagination of adventurers, explorers, and scientists alike. Numerous expeditions have searched for evidence of its existence, with some claiming to have found large footprints or strange sounds in the mountains. Despite modern investigations in DNA analysis, the creature's existence remains unverified, leading to a mix of theories, from the Yeti being a previously unknown species of primate to it being an ancient creature thought to have gone extinct. While some dismiss the Yeti as a myth, others continue to believe in its existence, making it one of the most fascinating and mysterious cryptids in the world. The sixth creature on our list is one of the most fearsome beasts in mythology, originating from ancient Persian legends. The Manticore is described as a terrifying hybrid with the body of a lion, the face of a man, and a tail covered in deadly spines or venomous stingers. Some versions of the myth even claim that it had wings, allowing it to strike from the skies. According to legend, the Manticore was a relentless predator, capable of devouring humans whole, leaving no bones behind. Its name, derived from an old Persian term meaning man-eater, reflects its terrifying reputation. Ancient texts claim that the beast lurked in remote deserts and dense forests, waiting to ambush unsuspecting travelers. Some believe the legend of the Manticore may have been inspired by real animals, such as tigers or large predatory cats encountered by ancient Persian hunters. However, its monstrous description makes it one of mythology's most nightmarish creatures. Whether real or a cautionary tale, the Manticore remains a symbol of danger, power, and the mysteries of the ancient world. The Chupacabra is one of the most notorious creatures in Latin American mythology. Its name, meaning goat sucker, comes from reports of livestock found drained of blood with mysterious puncture wounds. First reported in Puerto Rico in the 1990s, sightings quickly spread across Latin America, with various descriptions emerging. Some claim it resembles a reptilian creature with glowing red eyes, while others describe it as a hairless canine with sharp fangs and a hunched posture. According to legend, the Chupacabra hunts at night, preying on farm animals and leaving behind no trace except for its eerie bite marks. Unlike natural predators, it does not consume flesh but appears to feed exclusively on blood. Some believe it is not an earthly creature but something supernatural or even extraterrestrial. Skeptics argue that the Chupacabra is a product of mass hysteria or misidentified animals, yet the stories persist. Whether a cryptid yet to be discovered or a legend fueled by fear, the Chupacabra remains one of the most terrifying and mysterious beings in Latin American folklore. The Wendigo is one of the most terrifying creatures in Algonquian mythology, deeply rooted in the folklore of indigenous tribes from the northern United States and Canada. Described as a towering, gaunt figure with glowing eyes, sharp claws, and decaying skin, the Wendigo is said to embody insatiable hunger and endless greed. According to legend, it was once a human who resorted to cannibalism in the harsh winter months, cursed to become a monstrous being that forever craves flesh. The more it eats, the hungrier it becomes, never satisfied and always searching for its next victim. Some tales say it can mimic human voices, luring unsuspecting travelers into the frozen wilderness where they are never seen again. Many believe the Wendigo is not just a physical creature but also a spirit of corruption, capable of possessing those who succumb to greed and desperation. Whether seen as a mythological monster or a warning against human excess, the Wendigo remains one of the most chilling figures in North American folklore, haunting the dark forests of legend. The Tatzelwurm is one of the most mysterious creatures in Alpine mythology. Described as a serpent-like beast with the front legs of a feline and a dragon-like head, this elusive creature is said to inhabit the remote mountains of the Alps. Legends claim it moves with incredible speed, blending into the rocky terrain and lurking in caves, rarely seen by humans. Stories of the Tatzelwurm date back centuries, with travelers and locals reporting strange sightings of a limbless reptilian creature with glowing eyes. Some accounts describe it as aggressive, capable of spitting venom or releasing a foul-smelling gas when threatened. Others believe it is simply a misunderstood animal, an undiscovered species hidden deep within the mountains. Despite the lack of scientific evidence, the legend of the Tatzelwurm persists. Some cryptozoologists speculate it could be a surviving prehistoric reptile, while skeptics argue it is merely folklore inspired by misidentified animals. Whether real or myth, the Tatzelwurm remains one of the most intriguing creatures of Alpine legend, haunting the rugged peaks of Europe. The 10th on the list is the Fata Morgana, a phenomenon that has long blurred the line between myth and reality. For centuries, sailors and travelers have reported seeing floating cities, ghostly ships, and castles seemingly suspended in the distance. These visions were often believed to be illusions created by powerful enchantresses or omens of fate. The name itself comes from Morgana le Fay, the sorceress of Arthurian legend, who was said to use magic to conjure deceptive mirages to mislead sailors. In truth, the Fata Morgana is an optical illusion caused by the bending of light as it passes through layers of air with different temperatures. This creates distorted and often inverted images that appear to levitate above the landscape or sea. Many legendary sightings, from phantom islands to unreachable lands, may have originated from this strange effect. Even with modern scientific explanations, the Fata Morgana remains one of the most intriguing phenomena in both legend and nature. Its ghostly images continue to inspire stories, reminding us how easily perception can be deceived by the mysteries of the world. Is there a possible mythical creature that could still exist today? Among the many legends of ancient beasts, one stands out as a terrifying possibility: the megalodon. This gigantic prehistoric shark, which once dominated the oceans millions of years ago, was one of the most fearsome predators to ever exist. Reaching up to 60 feet in length and equipped with enormous razor-sharp teeth, the megalodon ruled the seas, preying on whales and other large marine animals. Scientists believe this giant went extinct around 3 million years ago, but some cryptozoologists and deep-sea explorers suggest otherwise. The ocean remains largely unexplored, and reports of enormous unidentified creatures, unusual sonar readings, and unexplained damage to large marine animals have fueled speculation that something enormous continues to roam the deep. With over 80% of the ocean still a mystery, could the megalodon have found a way to survive in the uncharted abyss? Until definitive proof is discovered, this legendary predator remains one of the most fascinating and chilling mysteries of the deep.